Hello everybody and welcome to the next Lamley Award Showcase for 2024. Hot Wheels basic new model, licensed new model, as we do every year. We take all the licensed new models in the basic range, show them to you, and you go to the link down below and vote on your favorite, the model that you think was the best. We're talking model casting, but actually your criteria is your criteria. You vote on the one that you think is best for 2024. We've got quite a few, several colors of each. I've got them all here. We are going to showcase them and we are going to get right to it. Don't know how many new models, but just so you know, for criteria, licensed new models, I've included 2 new models. I don't include motorcycles. Just leave those out because they kind of throw off. I used to do the best and most disappointing, had to walk through that, talk through that. This year, canning all of that, you just vote for the best. Whatever gets the least amount of votes, I guess, was the least favorite among the collectors. Most disappointing was too complicated. We start with the closest to not being a licensed model, but is the Mazda Auto Zam. It's the Texas Toot, the Legends winner from 2024. And I can't stand this model for one specific reason. I'm not trying to change anyone's vote. It doesn't fit in my cases, and that drives me crazy. It's too tall. I can't lay it on its side. It sticks out too much. It doesn't fit in anyway. That's wouldn't be a reason that I vote for most disappointing, but we don't have that poll anyway this year. But it is the Legends winner. Is that the 3rd or the 4th Legends winner? Volvo was before that. There was then there was the Firebird, and then the Jet Z or whatever it's called from the year before that. So it's an interesting, well-executed model, I think, all things considered. Came in 2 colors, that white lifted one and then recolored in this whatever gray color it is. And maybe you think that was the best model of the year. If you won Legends and this is yours, you definitely are going to think of it as the best model of the world. It does roll quite well. Well, not as well as I thought. All right, let's keep on going. Legends winner is out of the way, and let's move on to these licensed models. We start with, I'm trying to go in order of release. I might be off a little bit, but this is the Zinger 21C. Is it an EV supercar? I'm not totally sure. I still don't know exactly what this is, but it was the first new model of the year outside of the Auto Zam in the A-Mix. I just remember that. And like I said, I'm going to actually tell you here, instead of holding, I'm going to tell you the ones that are my favorites, the models that I feel were the best of the year. We'll do that at the end, but this is the Zinger. That was the first color in blue. Again, I don't know too much about it. It's kind of got a kind of a cool look to it. This is the recolor in red, and then it's the only one. Sometimes there's several that get 3 colors, at least the last few years. This is the only one that got 3 colors because it also had the Zamac, the infamous plain Zamacs. Infamous meaning I don't mean to call them plain. I mean to call them clean, but it did get that treatment as well. So 3 colors for the Zinger. Here's one that will be in my top 5 because of its significance. Its execution is great too, and I know how many people were so excited to see this one. This is the the Proton Saga. Get all excited about it and then I say it wrong. Proton Saga. Proton is a Malaysian automaker. This is an iconic car in Malaysia, and considering all of these cars that we hold in our hands, these basics, Super Treasures, everything, all of their origins are in Malaysia. This is a fantastic shout out by Hot Wheels to all of those that work in the factory there, all of those that are big fans, collectors in general in Malaysia. Hot Wheels is huge there, as I have seen firsthand. And so this was a wonderful shout out. There was so much excitement about the Proton, and here it is, executed beautifully. It will be in my top 5. I'll mention where that goes later, the Proton Saga. Next one, we're just when I say standard, I mean just right down the middle of what Hot Wheels does. They've done a lot of modern trucks, but this one has a little different of a take on it. This is the 23 the 23 Ram 1500. This one has a slight lift in the front, which is an interesting kind of Baja styling for this. There's some people that liked it, some people that don't. I like it because big trucks, and this is just personal opinion, this might be your favorite, big modern trucks bore the absolute out of me. No matter what the brand, they just do. But I do appreciate them executed as Hot Wheels cars. They should be Hot Wheels, Matchbox, other brands. So this one has a little bit more of an interesting take on it with the slight lift up front. So I appreciate that. It just makes it something that I like a little bit more. Two colors in that one. The blue was a recolor later on in the year. It's a really well executed model. This is why most disappointing. I'll just go back to that, why it's such a difficult one to do, because people tended to just say the one they hated the most, when I was really more interested in the model that people were, you know, excited about, and then it didn't live up to their standards. That might have been one for the big truck fans who said, hey, I'd rather have it be more factory in terms of its stance. Okay, another one, very realistic. Hot Wheels didn't drop as many of like the very stock factory style, but this one definitely is in that mode. I don't see too many. There's a few. We'll get through those. 87 Audi Quattro. Nice to see this one. A bit of a classic. Not a bit of a classic. An absolute classic. Done nice and clean. Obviously, super treasure hunt in the A case for 2025, but we're not worried about that. We're just worried about this one. This one was super clean in red. One of my favorites of the year for sure. That we'll see if it shows up in the top 5. And then recolor, just recent, in black. And then we get the green one, which is very similar as well. So we get those really nice versions of the Audi. Then one that I am quite intrigued by and very intrigued about its future. This is the Cadillac, what are they calling it? The Cadillac Project GTP hypercar. So it is GTP car. It is interesting to see a GTP car just clean. I think this is like the prototype that Cadillac would have done, right? Obviously. It's the project car, so it would be like their, you know, test version, I guess, you know, one that they promote and use. I hope that there is a future for this one with some sort of cool racing livery. Obviously, that's a lot of logos, and the way Hot Wheels runs now with licensing, that's a difficult thing to do. Obviously, we've seen Mini GTs, GTP cars, and they're fabulous. But this is well executed for a basic, to be honest. I mean, it's really nice. One of the best executed models of the year for sure. Just how the deco plays in the future will be interesting to see. We had that matte black version, which is really pretty, in the black with gold, and then recolor in blue with gold. Not nearly the nice one that the black one is, but cool. And I do hope we see a racing version of that. Moving on, this is one of the more intriguing, more fun models of the year. This is the Pontiac Aztec. Is there official? Pontiac Aztec Custom is the official name of this one. Pontiac Aztec, widely considered one of the ugliest cars ever made, and beautifully used in Breaking Bad as Walter White's car. And the Hot Wheels team took the Aztec, turned it into to me, this looks like a Ford rally style. Obviously, you think of the Cosworth there. There's the kind of styling there. And then, of course, I can't do it just because of the coloring here. Hard to show it, but it has the Easter egg in the back. Heisenberg's hat and glasses are in the back of this car. If you should know, hopefully you know who Heisenberg is. But a nice little shout out and a very intriguing, creative model. Got a few of those this year. Very creative takes on standard cars. That's the Aztec. We had a recolor in burnt orange, kind of. I think the blue is better. Looking forward to some of the future versions of that one. Just do a tan. Just do a plain tan version. Just do it. Just do it. Just do it. Just do it. EV truck. Looks like an Avalanche. It is not an Avalanche. It is the Silverado EV RST. So the EV truck, nicely executed. Again, one that doesn't interest me too much, but a well-executed vehicle and well executed. It makes me say vehicle. It makes me say vehicle. That's all you need to know. Hey, that's a nicely executed vehicle by Hot Wheels. Nice job, Hot Wheels, for executing the replica of that vehicle. And that blue vehicle was followed up by this black vehicle. I hope you guys enjoy the miniature replicas of this vehicle in two different interesting colors, blue and black. Thank you for those vehicles. Now let's move on to this rad car, the Jag. Really like this one, and I know Craig Callum, who is running the Basics design team, well, several design teams, really likes this one too. This is the Jaguar Mark 1. Mark 1, right? MK1 or Mark 1? This is when I tend to screw up and I get a lot of grief for, and I deserve it. But this one is race car. It's moving to premium for 2025. I think this one was done in conjunction with Grant Williams, and it's a beautiful, beautiful retro-styled, retro-inspired deco. The wheels are perfect. The casting is perfect. Really like the color on this one. The front racing, the racing element of it. It is a fantastic car as opposed to a nice vehicle. Here, okay, let's move on EVs. This is a more interesting EV. This is the third Ford Supervan, right? It's an EV. This is fourth Supervan 4. This is its lineage is the original Supervan, one of my favorite cars ever in real life, one of my favorite Hot Wheels ever in real life. Mark Jones Supervan for premium, done in the Ford racing livery with the Ford GT40 motor in the back. Favorite video on YouTube. I've talked about it a million times. So this is a nice thing to see in the Ford racing deco. Really like it in this one, the blue. Really cool how they executed the back of this one. The wind tunnels, it's an EV, and I guess it's wicked, wicked fast from everything I've seen. So that white one version, but I actually like what they did with the blue version even more with these new rims on it. It just looks cool, and if you put it just like down on a road, it just looks like it's moving and moving fast with those wheels. I think that's a style that I really like what Hot Wheels is doing. The wheels now look like they're moving. All right, that's a really nice one. Speaking of unique, they experimented with this key fob styling last year and then actually applied it to a real car. This is the Porsche, what do they call it? Porsche 911 Carrera, that's the name of it. Has no wheels, it's all metal. It's a work of art. Some people might hate this. I think in terms of all the Porsches we've seen from Hot Wheels and the fact that they executed this so beautifully in this raw Zamac, I mean, it's just put it on your keychain, put it on your shelf. No, it doesn't roll on a track. And I guess talking to the designers that worked on this was a huge debate when they did this last year. It's like, we shouldn't do this because it can't roll. Now, they've done other like boats and things, but this is fundamentally against everything that Hot Wheels represents, yet if that doesn't say speed, I don't know what does. And for those of us who like to display our models, that is a really, really cool model up there as a favorite of mine. I really like the recolor too, but it doesn't hold a candle to the first version. But it is cool in this white with the blue trim. I'll go ahead and put that one right there. Moving on, another unique car. It technically doesn't exist, but as a custom it does. This is the BMW E30 wagon. What's the official name? BMW M3 wagon. Beautifully designed. Andres with the deco on this one, which is really pretty as well. Like the use of the new lace style rims on this one. Technically a two-door BMW doesn't exist. Two-door BMW wagon doesn't exist, but they did it anyway. Had some fun with that one. And there's a story behind it where I think they utilized some of June's original E30 casting and had some fun with that, which I really like. No, I don't like the fact that they had fun with June at June's expense. I like that this is executed well. Hopefully that sentence made some sense. There it is. That's the BMW in blue. Recolor in red with the gold rims is very cool as well. And but I like the blue because it's just so BMW of it. Does that make sense? All right, keeping on. Hera Merc. Really, really cool, iconic car. And Brendan Vituski actually jumped over from designing RLC and monster trucks and did this one for basic. Car that he loves, car that many, many people love. An iconic car, one that I learned a lot about just in my education. This is the actual color that the Hera Merc comes in, executed with that cool, like the green base, the green chassis wraps up the side to give it that two-tone look, which is really clever of Brendan to design it that way. That's a really cool model. And then considering it's going to have to come in all kinds of different colors, they've been treating it well. This was a great recolor combination. Obviously, we've seen the Super Treasure Hunt that's coming in purple in 2025, which is gorgeous with the chrome moon discs. But this one is fantastic. That might be your favorite. It's going to be a lot of people's favorite, I think. This one might be too. Unique Porsche silhouette. Has some history. Cool that this one was released in the same year that the Prince Skyline was released, because they're linked in Japanese racing history and Japanese racing lore. This is the car that was passed by the Prince Skyline, got everyone obsessed with racing in Japan. This inevitably won. The Porsche Carrera, no, 904 Carrera GTS came back and won that race. But it's cool to see those released the same year. Different lines, of course, one premium, one basic, but they are connected, and it's neat that they're connected in the Hot Wheels world as well. Not a Porsche silhouette that we're used to, but I think it's really cool. We don't see as much in the Hot Wheels world. Recolor in red is nice as well. Type 7 version coming in 2025, which is nice. Tuned cars have become a thing, and they continue to be beautifully executed. Super fun, super cool. Mad Max RX3 done really well here. I thought about not including them, but since I'm not doing the most disappointing, and some people just don't like the tuned stuff and tend to vote for that, but I guess that makes sense. It doesn't matter. You might like this. You might like the tuned RX3. So much style, so much heritage, so much car culture to those, with their links to Japan, and obviously these two colors, the orange and then the recolor in white, make perfect sense. We'll get to another one in just a second, but in between those, nicely executed racing Ford Maverick, 22 Ford Maverick Custom. So some custom elements to this, like they did on the, was it the Lightning last year? This one is kind of in the same styling. I think it's better executed than the Lightning was. A lot of deco on this, modal, all that stuff, which looks really nice on this one. Model that, for me personally, doesn't excite me that much, but the execution of it is very nice. And yeah, I don't need to harp on all the modern trucks and whether I like them or not. My dad owned the original Maverick, so I'll just stay with the original Maverick. There's the other tuned one, Liberty Walk Skyline, the Ken Mary Skyline. What's the official name here? Skyline 2000 GTR Liberty Walk. Love it in that color combination. We've seen several models with this color combination. It's another iconic Liberty Walk, and that family of Liberty Walk cars continues to grow, and getting that tuned version just makes a lot of really good sense. Really dig it. All right, casting that we'll look forward to seeing in future versions. I'm not too keen on this livery, but you don't have to vote on the livery. The casting's nice. It's definitely a step up from this is the Toyota GR86 Cup. So some racing trim on this one. The old GR86 they did, or whatever it was called, had too big of a wheels on it. The proportions were off. So this is a very nice upgrade from that older one. It's obviously the next generation of that, but silhouette is essentially the same. And we'll see that one, I'm sure, in several versions in the future. So excited to see that one. It's a really nice casting. That might be the one you vote for. Ron Wong, who designs for Car Culture and Premium, jumped over to do a couple basic designs. This is one of them. It screams Ron Wong because Ron loves supercars and hypercars, and this Pagani is definitely that. This is the Pagani Utopia. Kind of magically done between the chassis color matching the color of the body on this one. This one has such a mean silhouette, the real car. I think it just has a really, it's kind of Pagani at its best, at least in this generation of Pagani, these kind of rounded out. That kind of almost insect beetle look that it has, and I love this version, and Ron did an excellent job for a dollar car. Just amazing. That one's up there for me, just in terms of pure execution. Off-road Lamborghini Huracan, there it is. What is it called? Lamborghini Huracan Stado. This is an off-road Huracan. They've done the Huracan before. This one makes sense. There's a Huracan that's also a super treasure hunt this year, and the basic Huracan that Hot Wheels has done, so this is the third version. Fits in nicely. I collect like first editions of the Huracan, so this one will go into my collection. No recolor on this one, just the orange. And it seems to be, this is maybe a good time to stop and say, you know, it seems maybe it's just in terms of how they execute the year. The first cars, almost all of them, Proton Saga didn't, but almost all of them get recolors up until a certain point. It looks like it stopped with the Ford Maverick. Then all of a sudden, the rest of them, we got one recolor moving through the rest of the year, and that seems to happen like the second half of the year. The basics don't get recolors. There's exceptions to that rule, but that seems to be what happens. So then you get like this Rough Roads Porsche. Off-road to car style Porsche. This is the Porsche 911 Rally is the official name. How many Porsches? We had the key fob version, that's what I call it. We have the Carrera GTS, we have this one. I don't think I'm missing any others. We got some in premium too, but this one is really nice. The rally style, it's clean. Love the deco on it, and very appropriate deco, even if it is a homage, not homage. We'll put that one here. We'll just put it right there in the middle as we go through things. All right, another one that the classic racing fans are just adoring. My friend Graham loves this model. Graham is a person from the UK who appreciates this kind of stuff more than anybody I know. And this Lotus was high on his list. This is the 67 Lotus Type 49. And it is a very worthwhile model and a very unique, interesting, awesome addition to the Hot Wheels basic range, and executed beautifully. Metal chassis, metal body, plastic engine, and then these wheels just work perfectly on this. It just looks so fast. Its recolor was an interesting one because I'll just put them together. You had the number 4 and the number 5, same color in British Racing Green. That's how it should be, Team Lotus. So you actually get a racing fleet here. You get the interior, basically the driver, one in a white plastic, the other one in a gray plastic. So that's a really cool way of executing these, doing a recolor, just changing the number, changing a couple of other elements, and that's a really cool pair. I love that they did it. Here is another one that's super unique, and between Craig from the UK, working with Aston Martin, there is one of the most interesting models done this year. This is the Aston Martin DB4 GT High-Speed Edition. It is licensed by Aston Martin. It is a fantasy model. It is a what if Aston Martin built a model to race on the Bonneville Salt Flats, which just are a few miles to the west of me. This is what it would look like. And I adore it. I adore this model. I adore the execution, the creativity, the fact that Hot Wheels was able to pair with Aston Martin, go out there and work with their designers on this as well. The result is so awesome. I love the deco on this in the Zamac styling. It makes perfect sense. I love the Bonneville, like speed land record kind of deco that's put on it. It's very retro. I just love this model. My excitement for you might indicate where I'm going on what I determine as the best. All right, Honda. This is another great kind of interesting out of left field decision, and something that we see that I think has been met with a lot of excitement. It's the Honda S800 Racing. This Honda doesn't have a lot of heritage in the United States. It does in Japan. This one done as a racing hardtop. Looks really cool. Love the wheels on this one. Love how it's been executed in the yellow. Would love a recolor, but I'm sure we're going to get a cajillion versions in the future. One that I am looking forward to collecting. Along the lines of factory, what Proton Saga was factory, the Audi was factory. I guess you could consider the Cadillac factory, maybe the Huracan and the Pagani. I'm trying to see the EV thing, but this Tesla, they've needed to do another Model S because the first one they did was an absolute disaster. Had the upsloped chin. It was distorted, like it just looked like someone punched it in the face and everything went wrong. And so redoing it as, you know, as a 2 or 3 generations over from the original Model S as the Model S Plaid, I think it's really nice. It's really well executed. I like the big spoiler in the back. It's appropriate for this one. So I know there's a lot of opinions on EVs, a lot of opinions on Teslas. I like this one. I'm happy with that one. And I'm also happy with this very interesting executed one, the GMAT 50S. This is, oh gosh, what is his name? See, this is when I get, oh, I know it, and I'm blanking. This is what happens when you film a video. Designer of the original F1, came back and did his own cars. Here it is. We get the next one in 2025. So, you know, it has that F1 similarity. F1 silhouette is kind of there. Very interesting, well-executed casting. I don't know too much about the car, but I'm learning because that's what happens when Hot Wheels releases a car. You learn about the cars. Okay, we've talked extensively about this one with Brian Zhao, his really unique VW van take. VW approved it. It's T3 Custom, turning it into this like just ridiculous racing van. basically gutted from the drivers, from the basically front seats back to turn it into a racing van. And VW loved it, and there it is. And in a heritage of unique VWs done, VW vans, like the cool combi and of course the drag bus and some of the others that we've seen, this one fits into that. So you can see heritage there between this and like the original Phil Reelman drag bus, which is kind of cool to see. And we finish with another factory car, a factory Mustang. You always have to get one or two of these. Ford Mustang Dark Horse. Nice to see this one. We already know they're working on that other one for 2025, that supercar one. Can't remember what it's called, but that's what happens. I forget so much. But this one in this satin blue is beautiful. The Dark Horse, another stock Mustang like the others that I put. I put the Lamborghinis, like all the first editions of the Lamborghinis, because they're usually done in factory decos. I do that with the Mustangs as well. And so I will definitely be adding this to the collection, and I will put that kind of a little bit out of camera. I guess I can move these over. Okay, so now you've seen them. You've probably already kind of picked the ones that you like the best, and you can definitely go to the poll, link down below, and vote. I hope you do. I used to just have you, I would talk about who won the votes and then my choice as well. I'm going to give it to you now, and then I'll do a results video later for all the other things that we're going to be doing, because there's a ton more coming. I mentioned that I have kind of a top 5, and they're all for different reasons, but the significance of the Proton Saga, that one definitely goes in for sure into my top 5. I really like the execution of the Audi, just because it's an era of car that I love, and there it is. Dig this one for how unique it is, the Porsche. I would definitely put that in my top 5. I'm going to put the BMW in my top 5 too, because I just think, I mean, this era of BMW is so cool. It's also a wagon. It just hits every note that I like them to hit. I would really consider the Jag. I'd really consider the Lotus. I really like the Honda. I like the tuned cars. Just out, excuse me, of the top 5, I'd probably, well, I mean, I don't know, don't have to rank them, because I would definitely put Ron's Pagani in there. I don't have to rank them, because I already know what my number 1 is, and it's my number 1 by far, and it is the Aston Martin. I love it. I love it. I love the creativity of this one, done in basic, and like you want to see. I'm trying to get an overall sense of the basic range this year. We got some stock factory cars, we got some race cars, we got some heritage, we got some vintage, we got some current. Got some EVs, got kind of a nice mixture of cars, and we got some really creative takes on other cars, like Brian Zal's VW, of course the tuned cars. I don't know. There's just a lot. The Aztec, of course, is super creative. I really dig that one. But the Aston Martin is the epitome to me. It's a classic brand. It's done in a creative way. It was done with the Aston Martin team. It's a fantasy model without being a fantasy model, like fantasy model within that. So the Aston Martin is my best basic. This is the car that I would vote for in the poll as the best of the basics. I'd probably put the Porsche next, the key fob Porsche, just because I think it's a work of art. Then the Pagani and the Proton Saga. I think the Proton Saga is third. I just think the significance of these. I will vote differently. My criteria will be different for premium. I still don't know what my choice is for model of the year. I have some I'm considering in all the brands, but the Aston Martin's going to be up there as something I'd consider for the overall model of the year as well. You guys tell me what you think. I want to see your comments, but more importantly, I want to see your vote down below on the link below. We'll talk about what won later. Thanks, everybody. Bye.